with the Stage 3 market growing but still so new for the B9S4, has anyone pushed the limits, tested the rigidity of the stock internals of the EA839? Any idea how far they can be pushed? Yeah, I mean, we're basically there. With the 810 tuning, the rods are the next, weak link as far as the engine bottom end. Um, I think that's it though for a while.
Yeah, I mean,
we got to keep pushing.
destructive testing's tough. You can get to that point and then hope that you see the exact fault, but it can show up in all kinds of different ways. You can get, I mean, we've seen this on Daza where you overpower the rod a little bit, and you get a little, basically a little deformation in the rod. That results then in things like the wrist pin cracking on the side of the piston, which then scores the bore, which then and it's you really have to kind of like hope you get a clean picture when something fails in some certain way, to know that you're fighting the right limits.
Right now, there's a Daza driving around with a 1 degree bend in the rod, which is now putting a 1 degree load on the piston skirts within the bore, and that's going to let go soon. But everything that we release, once we release it, is good and within the safe limits.
Yeah, we do everything we can to.
But I think to go beyond 810 power levels will require. And I think we're towards the end of what you can do with bolt-ons at this power level.
We need some bolt-ins.
Mm-hmm. Getting under the skirt, piston skirt, that is. I've got 55,000 miles on my RS5 with perfect maintenance records. Should I worry about pushing stage 3 components?
What do we have on ours now?
No worries, no.
No, we're not quite there, but I mean, it's lots of
Yeah.
miles that have been.
Our RS5 setup is solid. We've drag raced it, we've tracked it, we've put miles on it.
Yeah, it's been
elevation
elevation
testing.
We try and check all this stuff off. With every calibration effort,
and giving it high kicks, everything you can. Pretty much. Any worries for the durability of the block for the B9 RS5 with the power increases you're accomplishing? No, not with the block itself.
Not yet. I mean, this is nothing. We've never come across it.
But the rods, this is not just these engine. Every engine, kind of the first limit is the rod. It's inherently a weak component, or a component that sees a lot of stress in a way that would bend it or break it. Pistons, they have to go up and down, and they have to kind of withstand a certain amount of heat and combustion pressure and force. All that, the torque that hits your tires eventually is pushed through the top of the piston, through the piston skirt to the wrist pin into the connecting rod. But the connecting rod's doing this as it's going up and down, and so there's a lot of force and angular force on it. So it's a tough part. And then just think about it when you're at 6,000-7,000 RPM, and the piston hits top dead center, the rod is what pulls it back down. And so I calculated it once. I mean, something like tons.
The forces are insane.
The connecting rod it has to withstand many. It's like lifting several of your cars off the ground instantaneously for a split microsecond.
If you've ever taken apart a motor, you just step back and be like, okay, that piston inside there then moves up and down 7,000 times a minute. Break that down to what that is, revolutions per second, or how many cycles per second, and then try and get your head around moving that component that quickly. The physics are.
I remember I built a spreadsheet at one point and calculate, because ADTQ used to rev to almost 9,800 RPM. Yeah. And I mean, that was like lifting the building off the ground with one connecting rod. It's insane. And then you talk about F1 motors and stuff like that. It's mind-boggling.
The concept that it has to get to that speed and then completely stop and then turn back around.
Yeah, it's just
and pistons aren't light. Even really light pistons are still. You wouldn't want to get hit in the head.
And then you add into the fact that then you have valves opening, fuel injecting, spark happening, and a combustion event. It's how these things work at all.
It should
just an engineering marvel.
It doesn't make sense how fire can happen that quick. I still never understood it. But on eBay, there's actually some good videos of people who like cut motors open and then
On YouTube,
what did I say?
eBay.
Oh,
There might be on eBay too.
on YouTube, where you can actually see like how fast it is, and I mean each combustion event is happening.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of
You
those
can
where
see
like
it.
flat top
Yeah, exactly.
cylinder head. So
There's one with a BMW motor, 12,000.
oh, damn.
And then the initially you see the lifter going up and down, the valve spinning, and then it kind of like disappears, and then it reappears, and there's like harmonics, and you just see like it's just crazy, and then it disappears again.
Yeah, what always trips me out on those too is if you watch the actual valve head, they're just constantly moving in some way just because of the action of the spring and the tappet moving it. But you think the valve's in there, you can't spin it with your hand, so it's not going to move. But they're just kind of
Well, and actually the lifters are slightly off center, so as the cam hits the lifter, it's spinning and rotating.
the lifter.
Yeah, and then it causes the whole valve to switch. Prevents it from wearing. Helps it cool.